Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to be having a little bit of a look at Arcanine. You see, I adore the new Arcanine, which just came out in Double Blaze over in Japan. And I called it a great non-GX Pokemon, and I was very enthusiastic about it. And a whole bunch of people, and I don't blame them for this, did not seem anywhere near as enthusiastic as I was. And then it just went 8-0 in a tournament in Japan. A perfect 8-0 victory with a deck that played 10 Pokemon, including a 4-4 Arcanine. Now, I will say that like a whole bunch of the fire decks we've seen lately, this is partly the fact that the new Arcanine is awesome, and partly the fact that the fire support we're getting recently is nuts. It's not a coincidence that I've shown you a Blacephalon deck doing well, the new Charizard and Reshiram Tag Team GX doing well, and now the new Arcanine doing well. There's no coincidence here, ladies and gentlemen. The support that fire decks are getting at the moment is absolutely nuts good. Arcanine is a very good doggo, but having said that, there's just an awful lot of love for fire decks around at the moment. So if we start off by reminding ourselves what Arcanine actually does, you've got 2 attacks, and the first one here for free fire energy does 120 damage, and attaches 2 fire energy from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. Yeah. Now, the 120, as we talked about in the reveal video, link in the description, is a little bit low. We would like it to be a little bit higher. But having said that, you're accelerating 2 energy. And bearing in mind, we've got a whole bunch of really good tricks for accelerating energy, like Welder. We'll get more onto all of these in a minute. You're just going to be peppering the field with energy. So even though Arcanine looks like a very expensive Pokemon, we really don't need to worry too much. You're getting everything out here very quickly. And then 4 energy, 190 damage, and you do 50 to yourself. 50 to yourself, not ideal, but you're only giving up 1 prize. It's really not that bad. And 190 is really good. 190 will get a 1-hit KO on an awful lot of stuff. I mean, there are still going to be the odd things that survive. Tag Team GXs, mostly. But you know what? Other than that, an awful lot of stuff is going to go down. Obviously, we're playing Choice Band here, so you're actually up to 220, and everything from kind of Zoroark down's going down. Yes, there are going to be a few things that survive, but you can 2-hit KO all of them using the first attack. I mean, the only thing you're not 2-hitting with a first attack in a Choice Band is Magikarp and Wailord, and you're giving up 1 prize. So it really doesn't matter very much if you lose 1 or 2 of these. But it's not just an Arcanine deck. We actually see 2 copies of Turtonator, and they are literally the only other Pokemon in the entire deck. Now, this is a Turtonator from Dragon Majesty. Discard any amount of fire energy from your Pokemon. This attack does 50 damage for each card you discarded in this way. So you know how a minute ago I told you that Arcanine would 1-hit KO almost anything, but there are a few Pokemon that would survive? Well, in comes Turtonator. Turtonator's not the main focus of this deck. That's why we have 4-4 Arcanine and only 2 Turtonator. However, it's here for the big KOs. And we're going to talk in a moment about all the different ways we're getting energy on the field, although Arcanine is one of the main ones. And even against something like a Magikarp and Wailord, discard 6 energy off the field. Free from Turtonator, free from anywhere else. Boom. 1-hit KO. And that's the beauty of this deck. Arcanine can 1-hit KO most things and accelerate energy. Turtonator picks up the slack. And you have got a completely ability-free, entirely single-price Pokemon deck. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is absolutely beautiful. So, if we have a look at the trainers here, that whole ability-free thing I just said, that was for a reason. This is one of the many decks over in Japan right now that is playing the full 4 copies of Green Search. Green Search is a ridiculous card that lets you grab any 2 trainer cards from your deck, but you can only play it if you have no Pokemon in play that have abilities. Well, you don't play any Pokemon with abilities, so Green Search just lets you get any 2 trainer cards. And we're playing 3 copies of Pokegear 3.0 here, so when you want to find it, you're probably going to be able to find it. But there's another supporter card here which is just as, and probably even more important, and it's Welder. Welder is one of the reasons we are seeing an explosion, pun intended, of fire decks over in Japan at the moment. Welder allows you to attach 2 fire energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon, and then draw 3 cards. It is energy acceleration coupled with a draw engine. It's literally how, but you also get to attach 2 energy in the process. Incidentally, you can only draw the 3 cards if you attach the energy. You cannot just use it as a how. It's attach the energy, then draw 3 cards. So, yeah, that's all a little bit crazy good. And then, of course, we need to figure out the energy a little bit more. So we got 4 copies of Fiery Flint. Discard 2 cards from your hand. Search for 4 fire energy. Put them into your hand. Good so that they're in hand for something like Welder. But it also lets you discard because Arcanine accelerates from the discard pile. So yes, you want energy in your hand for Welder, but you also want it in a discard pile for Arcanine here. Fire Crystal lets you pick up 3 fire energy from your discard pile and put them into your hand. That's fairly important here. Again, for attaching with Welder and all of that. And we also see 3 copies of Wishful Baton. Now, Wishful Baton is like every one of these tool cards. It is a little bit vulnerable to a field blower. What it says is, if the Pokemon to which this is attached is active and is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, move up to 3 basic energy from that Pokemon to one of your bench. And given that Arcanine uses 3 or 4 energy, if you don't need Choice Band, and a lot of the time you won't, whack this on an Arcanine, and then when it goes down, all the energy gets moved over to a different Pokemon, and you are rocking and rolling here, and it is, frankly, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely beautiful. And the last really fire card we've got here is Heat Factory Prism Star. Lets you discard a fire energy from your hand and draw 3 cards. It's a Prism Star Stadium, it's not going to last long, your opponent's going to put their own stadium down, but until they do, yeah, this is a really nice little draw engine. And that is largely the deck. Smash with Arcanine, Turtonator for big KOs, and then the combination of Welder, Fire Crystal, Fiery Flint, and Green Search to make sure we've got all of the energy that we could possibly need. And then the rest of the deck is far more what we would expect from most decks. 4 copies of Nest Ball to get your basics out, 4 copies of Ultra Ball to get any other Pokemon out. Then we've got 3 copies of Rescue Stretcher, which let you recover your Pokemon. And given that you're playing a 4-4 Arcanine here and you might want to use 6 Arcanine, you're going to need to recover some of them. Couple copies of Choice Band to do a little bit of extra damage here. Although, like I've said, a lot of the time when you want to do extra damage, that's where Turtonator comes in. 2 copies of Lily. That is your draw supporter we're playing here. Again, the reason we're playing Lily for draw rather than something like Cynthia for shuffle draw is because you want to have, say, the energy and the Welder. And for that reason, you don't really want to shuffle up and hope you get both of them. You want to discard your hand down and then draw, so you've got 2 energy in hand, and you just need to draw the Welder, for instance. And then 2 copies of Guzma drags Pokemon off the bench into the active, but it also lets you switch, and you may want to switch your Pokemon at some point, because they've both got really high retreat. This is a very straightforward, simple deck. You get energy on the field and you smash. And partly this is proof that Arcanine is a great non-GX Pokemon, and partly this is further proof that the support that we're giving to fire Pokemon at the moment is potentially a bit over the top. We've had good support for a while, but it is this new combination of Welder and Fire Crystal that is really pushing fire decks over the top, and I really don't think we've seen all the good fire decks we're going to see. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's going to keep going. So yeah, Arcanine, it's good. Or is it? I would very much like to know your thoughts on the matter, so please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! But please do remember the rule, ladies and gentlemen. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about Keyforge and Transformers and any other games that take my fancy. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.